Welcome back to the Pig Trail Show. I am joined right now by our Hog Hoops insider, Kevin McPherson. He joins me on the phone. And Kevin, a big week for the Arkansas basketball program. They picked up 3 commitments so far since the end of this past season. And tell me a little bit about all of those transfers that are coming in.
Yeah, once the calendar turned the page from March to April 1st, Arkansas got its first transfer commitment from D.C. Toney, 6'6" wing at a Pitt. And then this past week, Arkansas landed 2 more transfer prospects, and Chris Likes, a 5'7" guard out of Miami, and then obviously on Friday, Stanley Moody, 6'6". I'm going to call him a combo forward. I think he'll play the 3 forward, Arkansas out of South Dakota. But these are all highly coveted, high-level guys. I mean, you see 2 players off the board first from the ACC in Toney and Likes. And then, of course, Moody is a guy that even though he played at South Dakota and not a high major conference or school, it is one of the more highly respected conferences in the Summit League. I mean, Oral Roberts, we know who that team is, finished 4th in that league, and South Dakota finished 2nd. But Moody was 2nd in the conference in scoring at over 20 points a game, 7 rebounds. You look at his size at 6'6", his length. He can play inside and out. He's going to, he's a plus rebounder for his height and some of the things he does on the perimeter. So you look at D.C. Toney, you could make the same case. Almost 15 points a game, is a good rebounder. Both of those guys are going to be able to defend multiple positions. It's going to allow Arkansas to play more small ball, as both of those guys can kind of oscillate from the 3 and the 4. Because you can defend multiple positions with those 2 players, it allows that flexibility in personnel matchups. And then Chris Likes at 5'7". Don't let that height fool you. This guy uses his size to an advantage. He knows how to play. Led Miami in scoring. Preseason first team All-ACC. Coming into last year, only played 2 games due to an ankle injury. But here's a guy that's crafty on offense. He's tough on defense. And I look at the 3 of these guys now, and I could see a path for Arkansas opening the season with what the Razorbacks have coming back in Devo Davis, Jalen Williams, J.D. Note, K.K. Robinson, Kamani Johnson, the transfer from Little Rock, who came in at midterm. I see a path now for Arkansas to open up preseason ranked for certain in most top 10s, and some they're going to crack the top 5, Tara, because you look at this transfer portal class right now, I think it's the best in the country when you look at what Eric Musselman has done.
Yeah, and just as they bring some guys in, they've lost a couple of guys as well. You've got Desi Sills and Ethan Henderson, who have both announced that they're transferring out. How does that impact this team?
Well, this is the nature of college basketball now. In the past, that'd be something to be worried about. But the way things are now, players coming and going, it's not just at Arkansas. It's all over college basketball. Then you had the pandemic where the NCAA gave everybody an extra year of eligibility. They're probably going to approve all transfers to have immediate eligibility. That's probably coming down the pike. Everybody expects it to. So this is just part of the game. And we saw what Eric Musselman did. You'd be more concerned, except that Desi was really the only player that was returning last year that had significant experience. Ethan Henderson had some, and Arkansas finishes ranked in the top 10 in the country and goes to the Elite 8. So I don't think with the way that this coaching staff puts together a roster, they're not building long-term. They're building year to year. And so, maybe a handful of years ago there'd be more concern, but right now I don't think it is. And that's no disrespect to Desi Sills and Ethan Henderson and their contributions at Arkansas. And Henderson's already, committed over the weekend to Texas A&M. He didn't, he announced he was leaving and getting in the portal, midweek last week, and the next thing you know, he's already committed to A&M. I know there's at least 3 schools from the SEC that have been interested in Desi Sills, some from the Big 12, so we'll see what happens there. But, those are 2 guys at Arkansas. Obviously, they played 3 seasons. They were part of the last recruiting class that Mike Anderson had at Arkansas, and they're the last 2 players from the Anderson era that were left on the roster and have now moved on.
Well, last guy we got to talk about, of course, is Moses Moody. You and I actually had the chance to talk with him a little bit after he announced that he's declaring for the NBA draft. What do you think about that and where he might end up?
Yeah, I think he's a first-rounder. A lot of folks having projected a lottery pick, but whether he's in the lottery or not, I think he's a lottery pick personally, but if he's not, he's still a first-rounder, and this was the wise decision to make. I mean, the NBA, each year that you delay coming out, the chances go up that you're not going to have as high of a draft stock. The other part of the equation is that when you're Arkansas, this is the first one and done. And when you're building a program year to year now and not long term, you want to have NBA players on your roster. You want the other recruits to see, hey, hey, we not only can bring in really good players, but we can get them ready to go to the league in a year's time. So it's the first one and done. I think it's good for both Arkansas and Moses Moody. And Moody's, I think, is going to have a long career in the NBA. I think he's definitely a guy that, when you see going into this draft in 2021, is going to be able to, once he gets in the league, he's going to be able to continue to improve his game for the expectations of that game. So even though it's basketball, the pro game's different than college. The sooner they can get him, the faster they can get him ramped up, and he'll have a nice career, I believe, in the NBA.
All right, Kevin McPherson, thanks so much for your time and your insight as always. That's going to do it for our Hog Hoops report, but we'll be back with more on the Pig Trail right after the break.